Shalom. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakwadash. Double honor to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And peace and salutation to the elect that's out here laboring in all truth and sincerity. To you, I say Shalom. This is brother Amon Ariel from the gym in Charlotte camp, coming back with another Lord willing edifying lesson to feed the elect of the nation of Israel. And this lesson I wanted to go into how incredulity and apostasy are at an all-time high, and the spirit, all right, has been echoing this statement, throughout the body as we see these different Israelite camps waxing worse and worse. All right, false doctrine is going out more than we've ever seen in these times as we get closer to the end, because Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is making it known through the spirit who his men are by the doctrine's sake, man. All right, because according to Isaiah 8:20, as it says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. And what we are witnessing, all right, is these other Israelite camps revealing to the world that they do not have the oil. All right, there's no light in these guys. And the latest example we see of that, all right, is the changing of the doctrine from the Genesis camp. All right, those two niggas, Dumb and Dumber, who go by the names of Deacon Hakah and that dude Hassad, man. All right, these idiots, have changed the doctrine up. All right, and now they're teaching that the heathen can be saved, partnering themselves with a Vocab Malone, who was a known enemy of the truth. All right, and this is just another list added to the growing number of these bug out Israelite camps that are changing the doctrine up. And so, like I said, man, that just lets us know that we are at the end, because the scriptures literally said that. Okay, let's start here in First Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 1. It reads, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron." And that's what exactly we are seeing. Here it is. We are close to the finish line, man. All right. The last few prophecies that we're waiting on, all right, are speaking louder and louder. And yet you got individuals getting weak and trying to, compromise their salvation so that they can be comfortable in this in this world, knowing that this place is about to be destroyed, man. All right, but this is showing you the lack of fear, the lack of faith. All right, and ultimately, this is showing you that the Spirit of the Lord is not dealing with these individuals. All right, because the fact that all these years, focusing on these guys from Genesis, they were speaking about how they, at one point was teaching that salvation was only for the Israelites. Now we see them partner up with this known agent, all right, Vocab Malone, and now they completely switched up the doctrine, and they're being called out on it, man. All right, it's been several, of their former followers who have, called them out for that hypocrisy, because you got to remember when they were amongst Sakari before that group broke up. All right, they had their Sakari University or whatever they called it, and pretty much you had guys that will come into that. Excuse me. You had guys that will come into that and supposedly get built up, all right, on a biblical foundation so that they can, know the scriptures. And that was one of the things that was, brought out, is how they made mention about, that was one of the first things that they learned in that school. And now they're switching it up. That's Halakia. My throat is itchy. But that just goes to show you that, this is one of many things as we see, man, these false doctrines popping up. All right. The heathen can be saved. All right. Esau Edom isn't the so called white man. We can't hate him. All right. According to what was that Deuteronomy, what's that, 23:7. All right, that clerical error, because when it says thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, all right, that word is supposed to say Assyrian. All right. Because those are our cousins. But the scriptures go into how Esau Edom, all right, the Lord hates him. Malachi 1:4. All right, well, not Malachi 1:4, Malachi 1:2. For Jacob have I loved, and Esau have I hated. All right, so that goes completely against what the scriptures are saying, and you got these guys just changing it up more and more, man. The Revelation 13:16, Mark of the Beast breakdown is continually being switched up, and the scriptures warn this. All right, the scriptures clearly warn us exactly of this, exact situation. All right, let's get that real quick. So I can bear with me 1 second. All right, this is Proverbs 24:21. It reads, my son, fear thou the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. And that's exactly what we see out of these different groups: IUIC, ISUPK, Genesis, Sakari. And it's, like I said, man, it's a plethora of examples to show these guys are going off, man. All right, that's why the scriptures say, mark them that cause division and offenses caused by the doctrine, roughly paraphrasing. Because, man, you got Israelites just saying any and everything, man. Paul, his words aren't validated. Therefore, you got to throw away the majority of the New Testament. Genesis, those guys over there, they talking about, they don't believe in the writings of Mark and Luke. Because according to them, they didn't walk with Yahweh Shah. All right, you got, excuse me, all type of madness that's being said, man. But that just shows you the end time prophecies are exactly what it said. In the latter times, some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, man. 2nd Ezra 15:1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. And that's what, that's what we're doing as we bring out these scriptures in their entirety. All right, it's speaking the words of prophecy, all right, to our people, not only going into the prophetic events that are taking place all over the world, as far as dealing with the geopolitical economic stage of things. All right, letting us know the time period that where we are in the prophetic timeline, but also as far as giving you the the warning of the mindset of the people. All right, that's why the scriptures say the things written aforetime was written for our learning. So we can't be surprised. All right, even though it it makes us mad. And just the defense of the gospel's sake, but also it does make us mad because hearing some of the shit that's said by these different individuals, man, it does infuriate you because that righteous zeal that we have for the word. When you see these jakes, not taking the truth serious, or knowingly, we see these guys and sold out, man. That infuriates us, man, because they're putting the Lord to an open shame. Because here it is, we understand, Yahweh's sacrifice and what it meant for us to get this word back. And you seeing dudes, take lightly, all right, the gift that Yahweh Shai gave unto them, man. All right. But like I said, the countermeasure of it is that, the counterbalance of it is that the Lord warned us that that was going to happen. All right. So our job is just to, come out here and teach the word. All right. And we defend the gospel just like, it was commanded of us, man. All right. But continuing on, back in 2nd Ezra 15:3, it says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." And this is why I said, man, the spirit of incredulity and apostasy are at an all-time high because, hey, man, these people's unbelief of this word, Salakia, excuse me. All right, their unbelief of this word is pretty much, is being shown more than ever. All right, we are literally witnessing flood-like behavior like no other. All right, because the wickedness of our people, all right, has reached an epitome to where you see all these videos coming out mocking the Hebrew Israelites. All right, everybody and their mama has their own breakdown of the prophecies. All right, and you see all these social media prophets popping up, claiming to break the scriptures down, and they butchering everything, man. But the main thing that is being shown is that the true men of the Lord, all right, they don't, respect the work that we put in, okay? Because the videos that go viral, all right, is either off of some controversy, which really comes from these other camps and their stupidity, but then also, anytime the event happens to where, somebody ends up fighting or a heathen or even a Israelite man or woman is getting cussed out. Those are the things that go viral. But when it comes to the true edification of the scriptures, nobody pays attention to those videos, man. All right. So what we're seeing Yahweh Shai magnify right now. Salakia, I'm trying to drink this stuff to keep my throat, from being itchy. But like I was saying, what we see Yahweh Shai doing by showing, all these different, videos of these people coming up against the truth, all right, is the Lord is marking them so that the true believers, all right, that may be amongst these different Israelite camps or that watch them, that you can see that, hey, in these times now that you have no excuse not to know who the men of the Lord are, man, and who has the truth, true 100% doctrine, man. All right. I'm grabbing that real quick. Malachi 3:16. It says, Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. And that's what's going on, man. As we do these videos, that's essentially how the church is communicating amongst one another, because these digital epistles, are how, the churches, speak to each other, because how we saw back, during the time when these scriptures were written, all right, they were scrolls that pretty much, they were, passed to one another, man. All right. So we're passing that through the internet, all right, the digital highway now, man. Okay. So, as we watch these different videos from the different apostles and elders and elder bishops and brothers, all right, and the spirit is edifying and pretty much, exhorting, rebuking, all that, so that the Lord is gathering his elect unto himself. All right. So continuing on verse 18, then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. And that's what is being determined right now, as we are seeing these guys reveal themselves, man. All right, these individuals are showing you that they don't serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. They serve their own belly. You know, let me grab that real quick. Bear with me. I'm trying to remember how it's worded. Yep, this is Romans 16 and 18. Matter of fact, let me jump up to verse 17. Romans 16 and 17, it says, Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. And this is why we do these videos, to warn the flock to stay away from these individuals, man, because these dudes are nothing more than agents of confusion. Whether they're physical agents being employed and funded by Esau Edom, the so-called white man, or they're agents of Satan. But either way, they're agents of confusion that are being used to pretty much, sift the undesirables, all right, from this truth, because the elect is being drawn by the true understanding. And this is why you other Israelites out here, all right, that want to watch all the different camps, all right, that that don't truly understand what you're involved in, and then once you get confused, you want to try to run and come back unto us. Well, this is why we make the point of mentioning to stop watching these individuals, because they obviously are going off, which is why we do the rebuke videos, to bring to light what they're wrong about, man. And then we give you the true understanding, and yet you got these same people will still run back to these individuals and watch their videos, and then when another question arises because they got confused by the nonsense that's being taught to them, they come back over to here because they know that GMS has the truth, and now they want to ask these questions. Well, it's going to come a point in time to where you ain't going to have the ability to ask us questions anymore, man, because the Lord's going to shut up his elect's mouth, man. All right, because it's a famine of word coming. All right. Verse 18. For they that are such serve not our Lord Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. And that's what we just saw, all right, dealing with this these guys from Genesis, man. All right. They had a whole presentation trying to prove unto you idiots out there that salvation includes all the other nations now, man. But like I said, it has been reported from their own followers of how they made mention of that was one of the first things that they learned, all right, when they was in Sakara University, of how salvation was only for Israel. So now you got a lot of those individuals that was amongst them demanding that they get their money back because they were lied to, and it was the spirit. Because one of the comments that was left actually said, when they called Hakai out and said that, he had said on many occasions that if he ever wanted to get rich, he was going to start teaching that the heathen could be saved. And lo and behold, what are we seeing now? He's doing exactly that, man. Showing you that he's not serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. He's serving his own belly, man. Let's read that in the NLT. It says, such people are not serving Hamashiach our Lord. They are serving their own personal interest. By smooth talk and glowing words, they deceive innocent people. And that's the same thing we see from the IUIC, ISUPK, and so on, all these different alphabet camps. Because when it comes down to it, man, they're wowed by the gimmicks and the different glitz and glamour that their camps provide. But when it comes to down to straight up edification, they lack, which is what we saw when we saw that individual come out to the elders in Dallas a few weeks ago. That young guy from ISUPK, all right, he didn't know simple milk, questions, man. All right, they questioned him about the heresies that his group teaches, and he didn't even know. He don't even know that his group teaches that John the Baptist fell the truth, which is a complete lie and madness, man. He don't even know that his leader, General Yohana, teaches that you can pop your woman in the butt. He made the joke that song "Do It in the Butt." All right, they teach that pretty much that you can pop your woman on the Sabbath, and he even went as far as to say God doesn't care about if you take a microchip. So he's essentially telling his congregation that they can take the chip, man. Just like they told their congregation during the demic to take the jump shot, man. All right, that VAX, man. You know, so hey, you gotta watch these individuals, which is why we constantly put that warning out, man. But it's on you individuals out there to have the spirit of discernment to know that the groups that you are following that they're off, man. And if you can't see that, the scriptures tell you, let's grab it. Matthew 15 and 14. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. And that's what's going to happen. All right. These same leaders that you refuse to stop, following, these same leaders, these Judas goats, they're going to lead you right to your destruction, man. And the one thing that you cannot say is that you were not warned. All right. From Apostle Tahar on down to all the brothers in GMS, man. Videos go up every day rebuking the off doctrines that come out from these different Israelite groups, man. The off actions that come out from these different Israelite groups, man. So when it's said and done, y'all can't say that you weren't warned that your leaders were some charlatans. They weren't they weren't no extortioners. All right. Hey, that situation that happened with Alazar and the Sakari, man, that something like that, this shouldn't even be a Sakari group no more, man. All you individuals that was following that Mo, y'all should have disbanded that whole Israelite camp. I wouldn't even want to be associated with that name if you found out that your leader was participating in that madness, man. You know? But it just goes to show you that these Israelites, man, that they're zombies, which is why the Apostle Tahar calls these people that, man. You just blindly following your camp leaders because you don't care about what's being said. It's just about the outward appearance, that the fact that you can proudly claim that you're an Israelite. You can wear your fringes. You can make your rap videos, have that social media presence and all that. But it's not about that, man. It's about the truth. At the end of the day, it's about the edifying of the elect. All right, so like I said, man, back in Malachi 3 and 18, then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. So these individuals out there, man, hey, they're showing you that they don't serve the Lord, and the main way that they're showing that is that they're going off on doctrine. Because as I quoted earlier, Isaiah 8 and 20 says, to the law and to the testimony. What's the testimony, man? We have the testimony of Yahweh Shah, therefore we have the testimony of prophecy, because the spirit of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy. So we have his testimony, therefore we should be prophesied, man. Revelation 19 and 10. All right? So if these individuals aren't talking about that, then the spirit of the Lord is not with them, man. Okay? 1 second. And once again, Salakia. But, I say all that to say, that shows you that the spirit of incredulity is high. All right, the unbelief in the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in this truth. All right, it's an attack on you believers' true faith, man. Okay, because the fact that you believe in the 100% doctrine, that you know where the truth is, man, hey, you are going to be attacked because of your faith, man. All right, and that shouldn't come as a surprise to you because the scriptures tell you that, man. Blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. So the fact that we see that when you come against us over here at GMS, it's never because of the doctrine, because y'all can't deal in the doctrine, man. Because when it comes down to it and we start dealing scripturally, the first thing that happens is they run to the grape law. All right, talking about we grape, little girls, because of the doctrine of Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter, which don't even say what y'all saying. All right, but it's because of the emotion that we see amongst these individuals. They can't deal as doctrine wise, man. All right, and then the ones that we see trying to break the scriptures down, but they're doing it wrong. They don't have the spirit of the Lord with them, man. All right, which is why you see them saying the madness that they say. All right, so the Lord told us this. All right, so for the fact of you have to fight for your faith, man. Okay, because if you allow this spirit of unbelief to affect your faith, all right, you will fall out the truth if you're not covered by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Okay, this is the book of Jude, chapter 1 and 3. It says, "Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needed for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints." All right, earnestly contend for the faith, man. All right, hey, get down for your crown, man. Because like I said, man, that spirit of unbelief is going all throughout the world trying to attack the true believers. This is why, as we see, Satan walketh about like a roaring lion seeking who he can devour. And he's using these different reprobate Israelites to try to attack the faith of the true believers, man. But the scriptures tell us that the elect cannot be plucked out of the Lord's hand. So as we see, this false doctrine going out, it's just confirming to the true believers that these guys ain't got it. All right. So it says, "For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our power into lasciviousness, and denying the only Lord Yahweh and our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach." And that's exactly what we're seeing. People are changing the doctrine up for filthy lucre's sake, man. Because that's exactly what we saw, all right, all these sellouts do, all right? They change the doctrine up for the bag, for that bribe, man. Showing you that these individuals are not fit to sit in the seat of a judge, because the scriptures in the law strictly prohibit a judge from taking bribes, man. Let's get that real quick, man. Where is that? It's in the law. We give it a Google, so bear with me. All right, so he gave me two. So let's get Exodus chapter 23 and verse 8. It says, "And thou shalt not take no gift, and thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise, and perverteth the words of the righteous." And what is that gift that we're seeing blind the eyes of the people today? It's that bag, man. All right, this is why the scriptures say, "Why setteth thy eyes on uncertain riches?" Because those riches will grow wings and fly away in the day of destruction, roughly paraphrasing. So these individuals are literally throwing their faith away for nothing, because that bag that they're selling themselves out for is literally about to be, brought down. And the only way for you to be able to even still retain that is for you to take the knee and take that chip when Esau crashes this system and introduces his new world order, man. So this is why at the end of the day, man, you can't allow yourself to be tempted by the gifts of this world, because that's what Esau Edom is doing, is playing on the lust of you people's flesh, man. And that's what you see a lot of individuals in this truth do. All right, is begin to change the truth. All right, for clout, for money, for recognition. All right, and this is what you see amongst the top guys in Israel, man. Bishop Nate, Captain Tazariak, Alazar, these different guys, man. They want to be that guy, man. All right, they want to be the face, but Yahweh Shah is supposed to be the face, man. When you see these guys go on these different platforms to speak, you don't hear them big up Yahweh Shai. You don't even hear them call upon the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. And if they do, they bring ambiguity with it, man. You know, talking about, some call him Yahweh Shai, some call him, Christ, some call him Yeshua. Nah, man. If you know the names are Yahweh and his son's name is Yahweh Shai, you're supposed to proclaim that so that, the people listening know exactly the spirit that you're coming in. But when you do that, that shows you that you're not of the Lord's true, sheep, because you aren't really giving the people the truth 100%. All right. So the fact that you'll play with that, ambiguity, that you'll give a gray area, shows you that if you, because in the back of your mind, if you were to come out there and teach exactly what you, because all these niggas, they know the truth. But if they come out and teach exactly what they know the truth, that they ain't getting no bag, man, and they're gonna get blackballed. All right, Esau Edom is gonna come right after you, and that's why they do what they do, because ultimately they don't want that they don't want that persecution, which is why you see a lot of Israelites, like I said, dealing with Genesis, and there's other guys that have done it. All right, different fallouts from GMS and whatnot, switching the doctrine up to try to, make salvation open unto all nations, because a lot of you fear the persecution that Esau is about to come with because of what you're teaching. All right. So like I said, man, you'll sell out. All right. For that, that comfort and thinking that, Esau Edom is going to protect you when he rose, but you're going to find out the hard way. So let's get to the last precept for that and go back, grab a few more. All right. So this is Deuteronomy 16 and 19. It says, "Thou shalt not arrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift doeth blind the hearts, it's like it doeth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous." Just further reiterating what I read in Exodus, man. Okay? Because, as it said, man, you're not supposed to take a bribe, man. Because, hey, that's what we're all judges, right? Psalm 82 and 6 tells us that we're all gods. All right, that word God, when you look it up, another word for God is power or a judge. All right. So as a judge, man, we're not supposed to, have respect of persons, nor take a gift. Because as we see, the fact that these individuals covet that bag so much to where they literally are telling you that salvation is now open unto all nations, when it's on record. Excuse me. It's on record that y'all taught the complete opposite. Because literally a month ago, you weren't hearing them say these topics. You see, years ago, dealing with IUIC, their leader, Bishop Nate, a long time ago was teaching the true names of the Son, who the world enemy calls, Jesus Christ, that his name is Yahweh Shai. The Father's name is Yahweh. It's a hour plus long video of him going into detail, having one of the best breakdowns you can find on the names of the Lord, man. And now you hear this nigga talking about Most High and Christ blessed, man. They sold out. They sold out, man. All right, and because of that, you see a lot of their blind followers that will literally fight truth and nail to defend the lie. All right, so going back, man, Jude 1:3, it says, "Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation." It was individuals the Lord told us that was going to come into the truth and fall out, all right, unto their destruction. And in the midst of doing so, they were going to, teach certain, heresies, which was going to cause other individuals to follow in their pernicious ways and be destroyed alongside of them, man. We were warned of this, all right? It says, "For we which have believed do enter into rest." Oh, Slacky, I skipped the verse. Verse 2, "For unto us," Slacky, Jude 1:4, it says, "For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of all power into lasciviousness, and denying the Lord power, Yahweh, and our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach." And they turn the grace of the Lord into lasciviousness. When you look up this word lasciviousness, it says feeling or revealing an overt or often offensive sexual desire. Well, we saw that with Alazar, but let me look up another, I'm pretty sure there's another definition that can go into that. Let's go into Edamon online. All right, lascivious, according to Edamon online, it says lustful, inclined to lust. And that's what we've seen, all right, for the love of money. They love that money because that money allows these niggas to be the superstars of this world, man. All right. And that dude Hakas said he has a life outside of YouTube. All right. Every day he goes outside, he said he gets to pull up in something crazy. That nigga has a I don't even know the names of all these damn cars. I'm not really into those like that, but the nigga has a car, like these celebrities, man. And these dudes are getting money, man. The nigga got 4 wives. He constantly, flaunting them on, YouTube, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that, you ain't got to show that shit on online though, man. You got your women. Hey, you do that. You do what you do with your women, man. But this dude uses this truth to flex, as well as we see these other Israelite camps, man, jet setting and pretty much living up in Babylon, man. But they're not giving you the true totality of what this truth is truly about, man. All right, we are just to teach the word, and that's it. There's no edifying about presenting our personal lives on camera. All right, we just teach the word, man. But these same individuals will come against you because when we get on them, they say that we're hating. Well, they had the same opportunity to receive this word. But when it's, when all hell breaks loose and the Lord, shuts this word up, these same individuals are going to be asked out because you had the opportunity to enter into, the inner courts of the Lord's sanctuary to receive it, yet you rejected it. All right. This is Hebrews chapter 4:1. It says, "Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left of us entering into the rest, Slakia, let me read that again. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it." And that's why these individuals, 2/3, can't get it. Because they had the same opportunity that we all had, all right? But because they weren't blessed with the gift of faith, all right, these words didn't, they didn't jive with them in the same way they jive with us, man. All right, this is why you got individuals that come into the truth, like these guys from Genesis, and different other examples, Alazar, the different gods of IUIC, RSUBK, and so on, they look at this truth as a way to make themselves somebody in this world, where the scriptures tell us we're supposed to deny ourselves in this world, man. Taking up our cross, man. We're denying ourselves because we know that our true rest is going to come in the kingdom, but these guys want to build a kingdom within the kingdom. And the scriptures tell you that you can't do that. Two kingdoms can't stand at the same time, man. And the Lord said he's going to give us our kingdom where we're going to have rest. But see, these guys are trying to, do that, all right, and pretty much, move Yahweh Shai out the way of it, okay? So we hear this and we understand that, look, the Lord is seeing these individuals and he's sealing their destruction right before our eyes, man. Verse 3, for we which I believe do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. And these individuals, they're not going to enter into the Lord's rest because their end is going to come via ICBM nuclear fire, man. All right, they're going to find themselves taking part in that lake of fire, okay? All because their heart of unbelief. Because you got an individual that's saying that Paul didn't know what he was talking about, but then the same individual will make a clothing line using the words of Paul on their clothes. Hey, the scriptures say a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, man. Like only an idiot would even believe something that stupid. Because how could Paul not know what he was talking about? He said Paul was teaching Gentiles. Paul wasn't following Yahweh Shai when Paul literally was taught by Yahweh Shai himself, man. All right, so that all just shows you that these individuals, man, they are nothing more than agents of confusion set out here to attack your faith. All right, so this is the same thing that we're seeing now, man. All right, these were the same niggas in the wilderness that was coming against Moses and the leadership. All right, that provoked Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to anger. All right, this is Hebrews 3:12. It says, "Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief, and departing from the living power." And that's what we're seeing, man. More and more guys are departing from the same doctrine that they learned. The scriptures literally tell us, continue in the doctrine that you have learned. But these people we're seeing, man, more and more apostates are popping up, trying to dissuade and take you people with them, all right, to your destruction, all right, or to their destruction. But if you go with them, it's going to be your destruction too, man. Verse 13, but exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you being hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. All right, because being in a spirit of unbelief, that's sin. Okay, you are going off if you don't believe the testimony of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, but that's not up to you to decide. All right, the Lord has individuals ordained to have that spirit of unbelief to their destruction, just like He has, the remnant ordained to salvation because of their belief. All right. It says, for we are made partakers of Hamashiach, if we hold at the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. All right? Keeping that crown. Okay? That's why I said you got to fight for your crown until the end, because, hey, these demons, all right, are on these individuals to try to make you, put your crown away so that you can end up in that same, perdition as them. It says, while it is said, today, if you hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. But with whom was he grieved 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? And to whom sware he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believe not? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. And that's what we're seeing today, man. All right, these individuals are putting their unbelief on the forefront for all to see in hopes that you will follow them. Scriptures literally talk about, people, trying to heap disciples unto themselves. All right, people that was once amongst the body separated themselves. Now they're heaping disciples unto themselves. All right, and you begin to see them, veer off from the doctrine that they learned. Now they're teaching bullshit that they didn't learn when they first was amongst the body. You know, these demons are out here taking souls, man. So we have to pray to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua in that same spirit that King David had in Psalms 51 and 11. All right, that the Lord take not His Holy Spirit from us, man, because we see that Holy Spirit is being taken from individuals, man. All right, because hey, in this spiritual war, man, these dudes are being overtaken. All right, but we understand that was their lot from the jump. Okay, Jude 1 and 10 in the NLT. It says, "But these people scoff at things they do not understand." And look at the example we have right now, man. The whole concept of who salvation is for. For you to sit there and say that salvation is for all nations, you lack the understanding of what salvation truly means. Salvation means to be saved from some catastrophic event. The fact the Lord made mention that there was going to be a remnant to be saved, all Israel is not even going to be saved. So how the hell are you going to open up salvation for all nations, man? That shows you that hey, they speak evil what they don't know. Okay? It says, like unthinking animals, they do whatever their instincts tell them, so they bring about their own destruction. What sorrow awaits them, for they follow in the footsteps of Cain, who killed his brother, because hey, Cain was jealous of Abel's righteous sacrifice, and that's what we see. All right, people are jealous of our elders and apostles. They're jealous of certain brothers, all right, that are pretty much, in the limelight because of their teachings, all right? And these people want that limelight, all right? We saw that with Alazar, man. Alazar wanted Apostle Tahar's spot. That's why he was saying, that the apostles are all aged out, that they need to retire, all right? And he was going to take over and deem himself the chief high priest, Crip, Hoover Crip, or whatever. And then look what happened, man. He got exposed, and he told his congregation, that he was out. He called them niggas, and he left them. Just left them to dry, man. All right? It says, like Balaam, they deceive people for money. And like Korah, they perish in their rebellion. And these are all examples of what we're going to see happen to these 2/3, man. Okay? You don't even realize that you are being, tricked into your destruction. It says, when these people eat with you in your fellowship meals commemorating the Lord's love, they are like dangerous reefs that can shipwreck you. They are like shameless shepherds who care only for themselves because they know what they're saying is off. Deacon Hakah and Hassad know what they're doing, man. All right? They know that they're being deceptive, man. Bishop Nate knows that he's being deceptive. Captain Tazariak, General Yohana, and all the other guys of ISUPK, they know exactly what they're doing. And they're leading their congregations to their destruction because they know that they're lying. All right? All these people know that nobody in GMS is raping no little girls, man. That's some bullshit, man. All right? And all the other lies that y'all said, man, But they say that because they know that they can't contend with the scriptures. And their flunkies that follow them just, blindly repeat and parrot what they heard their leadership say, not even understanding truly of where that even comes from or, anything dealing with the scriptures, man. Okay? But anyways, it says, they are like clouds blowing over the land without giving any rain. They are like trees in autumn that are doubly dead, for they bear no fruit and have been pulled up by the roots. And that's what's going to happen when we see, when all hell breaks loose. Hey, when they need true spiritual guidance from the scriptures, the understanding Isaiah 33 and 6, these people are going to be destitute in that time because they was never really built up. They never was taught the true understanding of what these scriptures are about and what to do, all right, as these prophecies come to pass, man. So a lot of these people are going to be destroyed. And you can't say you weren't warned, man. All right? But the elect heard the warning. All right? They're getting their house in order. And Lord willing, all of us that, that believe, man, the Lord keeps the spirit on us and we continue to fight until the end. All right? So I'm going to end with this. This is St. John 10:26. It says, "But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep, as I said unto you." And that's just what it is. All right? We're only speaking to the elect. And if you can't hear the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, it's because you're not of his, man. "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand." And that's why, at the end of the day, the elect is going to stand firm, while the rest of Israel, they're going to be, led into that slaughter, man. All right? So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm going to end it right here. I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachahakwadash. Double honor to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught me the truth and the rule well. And peace and salutation to the elect. Until next time, I say shalom.